So, as for the question, would I recommend the book? Absolutely. I thought it was really sweet and a brilliant read for anyone who doesn't read overly serious and overly complicated fantasy. It had that adventurous feeling and a romance element which I love, and it was perfect for any young adult or older. Hi, my name is Terry Westwell and welcome back to Panic at the Book Club. This week we'll be discussing The Girl with No Soul by Morgan Owen. If you're pretty big into reading, or maybe you're just interested in reading a little more, then I suggest you head on over to the channel's intro video, where you can find out more information on how you can take part in this online book club. Whether it's through romance, fantasy, or even thriller, we do it all here. We list the next 4 books down below and on TikTok, along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you and the best time frame to read it in. We also accept your book feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below a video, send in a voice note, or even send in a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you can just send me a direct message on Instagram. How do you find your soulmate when you have no soul? Iris lives in a world that is ruled by the Order. Inspectors police the population by keeping a careful watch over people's souls. If they shine their lanterns on you, your soul is projected for the world to see and judge. But Iris has a deadly secret. She is a hollow, a person with no soul. She must hide from the Order at all costs, scraping a living in the shadows. When she's sent to steal the ring said to contain the memory of a soul's destruction, she's reunited with her spark, one of the 5 parts that make up her own missing soul. Now she must rely on the help of a young scholar named Evander to track down the remaining 4 missing parts of her soul, all while evading the Order. Will she be able to protect her heart as well as find her soul? The Girl with No Soul combines a fabulous concept, a swooning love story, and an intoxicating world-building experience all in one package. Just your friendly spoiler alert, if you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going doing that first, because beyond this point, there will definitely be spoilers. The chapter lengths in this book were fine. I mean, at times they did feel a little bit on the lengthy side, but they ranged anywhere up to 20 pages, so I'm not really sure as to why it might have felt like that. Like, sometimes I do feel like it can feel that way because there's quite a lot to take in and a lot of information, and maybe the book is quite complicated, which is very common when it comes to fantasy books, even YA fantasy books, but I do feel like this book missed that. Now, don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was adventurous, intense, and it had that element of romance, which I really like. The book could have easily have been twice as long. Like, the author could have gone into way more detail about how the soul was structured and why that was important in society. There could have been a ton more world building, and I feel like you just sort of get a vague sort of sense of the place and the people as well. Like, I did love the characters. I just feel like more time could have been spent developing those relationships and the resistance as well. Like, we could have found out more information on who they really were and what they've been up to this whole time. There was just a ton of stuff that the author could have expanded on. I mean, had the author have done this, would it have made it a better book? Maybe, but that doesn't mean I would have enjoyed it any more or less. With how it was written, it was really easy to read and follow. It wasn't hard to understand all of these different parts of the soul, and I don't know, maybe going into more detail just wasn't necessary. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to go on this adventure and see the characters develop without having to go through every little painstaking bit of detail. And it was simple and sweet, yet it made for a pretty interesting adventure. It did seem like a really unique narrative, and although it was a little predictable at times, I didn't see everything coming, and it was still a really enjoyable read. I really liked seeing Iris grow into who she really is, and she unlocked that next part of her own soul. I thought it was a lovely progression of her character as it unlocked the next part of the story. So, we're introduced to the main character as this girl with no identity, but then we soon discover that she's being nicknamed Iris. But then, when she finds the shadow part of her soul in the mirror, her memory reveals that her real name is Ruby. Like, do you know that moment in a book where, I don't know, you have this image of what a character looks like, only to discover that, I don't know, they have a totally different hair colour? Well, when I found out that her name was Ruby, that's the feeling I got. Honestly, the feeling was something close to outrage. I knew it wasn't right. It didn't feel right. I hated it. I mean, now I don't know if it was just some very clever thing that the author pulled, or maybe I'm just incredibly intuitive, but I thought Lily suited her much better. Like, I knew that something wasn't right with Evander's memories of blonde Lily, but I presumed it was just going to be something like, I don't know, maybe the relationship wasn't actually all that amazing. Maybe Lily had actually worked with his dad to betray him or something like that. I really wasn't expecting it to be that, no, actually, Iris is Lily and his memories are just warped with an image of this other girl. Like, I usually prefer books from one person's perspective, and don't get me wrong, I really did love the main character. I really enjoyed how feelings and observations and stuff like that were progressively increasing as she was made whole. You almost don't learn anything about those other characters at the beginning because Iris herself wasn't as emotionally invested. Which, don't get me wrong, I think was a really interesting detail. But I think I really would have liked to see more from Evander's perspective, to see what it was that his dad was really putting him through, and maybe even some of the other friends as well. Like, just having a chapter or two from the others' perspectives could have been a really interesting way to find out why it is they left the Order in the first place and how they became a part of the Rebels. But perhaps some more of their pasts will be explored in the next book. You know, I really enjoyed this concept that feelings and memories could be stored in significant items. I did think that that was a really sweet concept. So, as for the question, would I recommend the book? Absolutely, I thought it was really sweet and a brilliant read for anyone who doesn't read overly serious and overly complicated fantasy. It had that adventurous feeling and a romance element which I love, and it was perfect for any young adult or older. And will I be reading any more of Morgan Owen?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Fa Mulan.
And will I be reading any more of Morgan Owen? The Boy with the Haunted Heart comes out, I believe, on the 9th of May, which I immediately added to my Amazon wishlist, only to pre-order the book anyway. With an ending like that, I am super excited as to what happens to this world now. But let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy the book? Next week we'll be discussing The Woman Who Lied by Claire Douglas, so don't forget to get your comments and thoughts in by Monday the 1st of April at the latest to be a part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok or Instagram. The following week we'll be discussing Credence, but don't forget if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, we do now list the next 4 books down below and on TikTok along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you and the best time frame to read it in. Thank you all for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's always appreciated, and I will see you all next week. Bye.